Yeah, and this is another jonquil right here.
I love the gracefulness of it.
And this is a short cup.
That's beautiful. That's almost a reverse, almost.
And the triandrus over
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to that one. And this is the short cup. Wow, these are so beautiful. Well, hi. This is Delmarva Gardens, and it's May. And usually in May, it's a lot warmer, but this has been a very cold and very, very wet spring. And a lot of things are delayed. So when we would normally have daffodils blooming in March and April, they're coming to bloom late April, almost into May. And I'd like to introduce a really good friend of mine. This is Jack Holland. He is a Narcissus extraordinaire. He's a daffodil grower, and he has been having a wonderful love affair with daffodils for over 30 years.
Correct. Yeah.
And he has actually grown some beautiful ones, and he shows daffodils too. So you're going to share a lot of your knowledge with us, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd like to show you the variety of flowers in the daffodil world, and I'll tell you a little bit about their culture, how to grow them.
And we're also going to share on how to take care of them after they finish flowering. So join us for Delmarva Gardens coming up next right here on Pack 14. Well, this is definitely Daffodil Heaven in my opinion. These are absolutely beautiful. You know, Jack, most people, when they think about daffodils, they think about a yellow flower with green leaves. But there are so many different colors, sizes, and shapes of daffodils. Like these are little yellow guys right here, but they're not the traditional large cup daffodils. Now, what would you call this guy?
This is a Johnquilla type of daffodil.
Okay.
Which there are actually 13 divisions of daffodils based on form. And this is Johnquilla. Usually a little bit of a smaller flower with the dark reed type foliage.
Right.
And is very fragrant.
That is fragrant, and that's what I love about some of these daffodils and jonquillas. They're so beautiful. Well, let's take a look at some other ones over here. Oh, here's some more. I bet these are also fragrant too, aren't they?
Yes, this is another jonquil type.
Okay.
But this one has the white petals and sepals that make up the perianth, and an orange cup.
And the cups are orange. Now, usually the cups are orange, aren't they?
Well, there are 5 colors in daffodils. There is white, green, orange, red, and pink.
Oh, wow. That is so pretty. Now, this one also is fragrant too, isn't it?
It is, yeah,
Oh,
typical of that
lovely.
division.
Okay, good. Well, you have some that are a little bit more orange down the hill, aren't they?
Yes, that's a long cup daffodil.
Okay, well, let's go see the difference because this is a short cup.
Yeah,
but
this is a jonquil.
This is a jonquil, so which is different from the daffodil.
No. Daffodils is a common name for the genus Narcissus. They're of the Amaryllis family.
Right.
And there are 13 divisions of daffodils. A jonquil is division 7.
Okay.
So all jonquils are daffodils and Narcissus, but all Narcissus and daffodils are not jonquils.
That's really cool. Okay, well, let's go down and see the other one then. Oh, this is a beauty. Now this is a short cup with yellow perianth and an orange cup?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And with the short cup daffodils, that's the division 3, and that is where the base to the rim of the corona is less than 1/3 the length from the base of a petal to the tip of the petal.
Wow. And I love the fact that some of the petals are very smooth, but almost all of them have like a little point at the end.
That's called a muckrow.
I had not heard of that. Now, is this one fragrant also?
Yes, yes it is.
Oh, lovely, lovely. You know, you have some beautiful trumpets. So let's go see what a trumpet looks like compared to the short cup.
Very good.
All right. Oh, this is lovely. Okay, so the trumpet, this actually has like a ruffle around it, but you mentioned how to tell a trumpet.
Yes. In the trumpet daffodils, the length of the cup from the base to the rim is equal to or longer than the length of the base of the petal to the tip.
Lovely.
And frequently they are shaped like this, like a trumpet, but sometimes they do not have the flare. So the classification is based on the measurement.
And it's so neat to see the different types of daffodils depending on the color, the ruffles. all of it. Now, you mentioned that you have some doubles.
Yes, that's the 4th division. So, and it's obvious to see what a double looks like, but we'll go see one.
Okay, I think the doubles are awesome because to me they look like a party just happening in the flower. Let's go check those out. Oh, these are gorgeous. So to me, like I say, this looks like they're having a party. There's so many petals there. They're just joyful.
Yeah, this is a double daffodil. This is division 4. And this is where the cup or corona is actually into these many segments.
Wonderful.
And they're interspersed with the petal segments. So you can see this here, the petal segments are like a light yellow.
Right.
And the coronal segments are like a peach or pinky color.
Right. Oh, it's lovely. Lovely. And this is called Mamma Mia, right?
The name is Mamma Mia.
What a cute name. And it looks like it's having a party. Now, the one right behind it, this little guy, I noticed that the corona back here, the petals back here, are facing backwards, almost like a horse with his ears pinned back. But it doesn't look angry, it just looks like it's windblown.
This is a triandrous cultivar.
Okay.
This is division 5 of the 13. And typically, as you said, they have the reflexed perianth.
Okay, reflex.
And frequently, the stem I have in my hand, frequently they have 2 or more flowers to a stem. And somewhat a pendant flower. This one is facing upward now, but frequently they're a pendant and very graceful and elegant.
Are they fragrant also?
Yes, most all the daffodils are fragrant, but the jonquils and tazetta divisions are particularly fragrant.
That's what I love about them. Now this one I think is kind of special because it has beautiful white petals, but the corona right here, or the cup, is considered pink.
Yes. The color coding is described as pink, and some of them are more peachy pink, but that one has a very good color, and that's a short cup.
That's a short cup. Well, to me that looks more like salmon, but I think I saw a really pretty one, so I'm going to take you on another tour of his garden to show you a pinker pink. Oh, I love this pink. Now, Jack, you were saying that sometimes the pinks are more pink or more salmon depending on the temperature or the weather.
Yes. The colors are usually more vibrant when it's cooler and a lot of moisture.
Right.
Frequently the sun can fade the colors a little bit.
Okay.
But this one has a pretty good color. It doesn't have a really good form because we have the nicks on the petals here.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
But it has a very nice pink color.
Right, that is a gorgeous color. And that is interesting to know because this spring has been so cool and very, very wet actually. And most of these daffodils and jonquils that we see in bloom right now would normally be blooming the 1st of March, the last of March and into April. And here we are almost the 1st of May, and these are all absolutely beautiful right now.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
I'd say about 80% of the cultivars bloom the last week in March through the first 2 weeks of April, and with 10% the 3rd week in March and the 3rd week of April. So, but this year we're about two weeks behind.
Yeah, it's a little strange. But on the other hand, they're still fun to look at. Now you have some others that we're going to go ahead and take a look at. So let's go see some more of your garden. Now I love the fact that there's some daffodils or jonquils that have flat leaves and some like these guys right here that have rounded leaves almost. And they're just very beautiful, but these look very similar to these right here.
Yes. This is actually a species, and this is the species Johnquilla. This is in division 13, which is daffodils known by botanical name only and wild hybrids. And this species was actually used to hybridize this jonquil.
Oh, okay.
So, and this shows the dark reed-like foliage, and this species is very fragrant.
Oh,
very,
I noticed.
Almost like honeysuckle, very sweet.
Oh, that's one of the things that when I look for something to put in my garden, I want the color and the form, but I love the fragrance also. And this is just so beautiful. And sometimes that fragrance is passed on to the little ones.
It is.
And that's perfect. That is so perfect. All right, thank you. Let's go check out some more. Okay, this is a very tiny, tiny little plant. So this is what you would call a miniature?
This is a miniature daffodil.
Wow.
Where the height of the daffodil is less than 6 inches.
Wow, that is so pretty. Now, what is the name of this little guy?
That is called Stafford.
Stafford. You know, I think what's interesting is that all daffodils are, you mentioned that they were in the amaryllis family, but they're all poisonous, which means that if you have trouble with moles and other things that like to eat bulbs, like your tulips are always tasty, and crocuses, and sometimes even hyacinths, nothing is going to eat these daffodils.
No, they're impervious to voles and also deer, so they're a great choice if you have those two problems.
That's perfect. Oh, and this little guy is so tiny. Now, it's important when you're going to plant a little teeny daffodil like this, a miniature, is to have it in an area where you're going to be able to see it. And he's got his right here with a background of daylilies behind on this side and iris behind on this side. So he always has a wonderful backdrop that frames this perfect little Stafford. Beautiful. Okay, onward. Now these have a different look to them because the cups are not like cups. Wow. And what would you call these?
These are called split coronas.
Okay.
And you can obviously see where the corona is deeply divided into sections.
Beautiful.
And this happens to be a smaller one with usually a couple of flowers to a stem. But it's called Tripertite.
Lovely. Now, is this fragrant also?
It is, yes.
Nice. That's very beautiful. And I like to having the different look to having the split corona because it gives you almost a layered look, like it's a double flower without being a total double.
Yes. And usually in this type, the cup lies pretty flat against the perianth.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And right beside, he has this really pretty one with the yellow petals that are basically coming back reflex.
That's a short cup.
And the short cup has got yellow with a bright orange band. So again, that bright orange band kind of gives it a little bit more zing in the garden. Very lovely. Which one is this one?
That's called Triple Crown.
Triple Crown. How pretty. You have one that's called a pheasant eye. Let's go take a look at those. Okay, so these are, I call them the poets, but they're the Poetica type. Is that what you say?
Yeah, poet is just a common name.
Okay.
It's a Poeticus division, which is division 9.
Okay.
And these typically, they have a white perianth, and they have this flat cup, usually with a green eye, with a yellow midsection and a red rim. And the one you mentioned before, pheasant's eye, is a wild hybrid in the poet division.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I often hear things and, people talking about garden terms, so rather than using a technical term, quite often people will use a common term like that. So it's nice to be able to hear what they truly are. And again, these have more of a flat leaf.
Yes, and
So,
they tend to bloom later in the season in this division.
Right. And we are, even though we tried to go ahead and get this filmed when we had all the daffodils and narcissus in bloom, it doesn't always work that way, but we still have a lot more to show. There's one that I think is kind of neat, and I was just introduced to it this year. Instead of having the white petals and the dark trumpet, this is sort of a reverse. So let's go show that one. This one right here? This one, the petals are a beautiful, almost a brilliant lemon yellow, whereas the cup is a very, very pale, pale yellow, almost pure white, but not quite white. Well, almost ivory.
Yes, and typically the bicolors had a white perianth and a colored cup. So when this is the reverse situation, so it's called a reverse bicolor.
That's gorgeous. Which one is this?
This is Intrigue.
Intrigue. I love the fact that we can take a walk through the garden and he knows them all because these are all his friends.
I've been doing it for 30 years. So.
That's good. That's good. Now, are these fragrant?
Yes, this is a Johnquilla type.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, good, good. Okay, well, let's go see something new.
Great.
Now, these are really neat because these remind me of like little bells that are, they're cascading down. So you don't actually see their beautiful faces, but you see the graceful arch of the whole plant. So what do you consider this shape?
This is the triandrous division again.
Okay.
And this is a good example because it shows the pendant flower,
Okay.
which is typical of this division. And this name of this cultivar is Jingle Bells because it blooms so late, and it does have the bell sort of character, as you mentioned.
It does, it does. And all of these have usually 2 flowers. So this one's in flower right now, but then there's the twin to it just a little bit later. So like most herbaceous perennials, these bulbs will bloom for about 2 weeks.
Yes.
And they might go a little further if we have cooler weather, but they actually might go a little less if the weather gets really hot.
Yes, they like temperatures in the 50s and 60s.
Uh-huh.
And they will be shortened a little bit with temperatures in the 70s and very shortened in temperatures in the 80s.
That's true.
This is the 50s and 60s are what we typically experience in the last week in March and first 2 weeks of April.
That's very true. So, oh, these are lovely. These are lovely. Well, I bet you've got even more to show us.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Oh, this one is lovely. Okay, you have a special liking for this one.
Well, I like green, and this short cup has a beautiful green eye, as we can see.
And it glows because you've got the white, the petals, and then the white cup. That is lovely.
This is called Colonial Treasure.
Colonial Treasure, that's interesting. I love some of these names, they're pretty interesting. And I just love the simplicity of this because so many daffodils that we've seen in your garden have multiple colors, and this one is just very plain but very beautiful. Well, speaking of things that have multiple petals, you have a very, very large double. Let's go take a look at that.
Okay.
Now these are, oh, they're just so spectacular. They're yellow and bright orange and just so lovely.
Yeah, this is another double. This one is a little bit past its prime. You can tell for show purposes the petals are starting to lose a little bit of substance.
Oh, right. They're almost transparent.
But it does have a good color.
Yeah.
And sometimes the doubles will get so heavy because there's so much flower tissue, and especially if they have rain or dew on them, they will tend to bend over. So these, I'm actually holding these because they have bent over, as you can see. But you can always stake them up if you want to.
Or cut them and bring them in your house.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. Which one is this one?
This is Paradigm.
Paradigm. That's a cool name for a paradigm. Very nice. Okay, well let's go talk about some daffodils and some care of daffodils, all right?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, well this is a very, very large double too, but you were talking about you found one that was blasted. So in terms of care, when something like that, like you say, there's so many petals, the thing to do is just pull it off so you don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, some of the doubles get this with cold temperatures, and like this is one that it's very soft.
Oh, so that's
it's not going to open up, so we'll just get rid of that.
Okay.
But a lot of them of this cultivar did do very well and open up.
So this one's doing really well, but this one probably will not. Well, this has got a lot, so this might. I just love the colors. Which one is this?
This is Piraeus.
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going to go to a different part of the garden and talk a little bit about care and culture. You know, we've had such a wonderful time visiting the beauties in your garden, but I think what I'd love to do now is share a little bit of how to take care of daffodils, because a lot of people want to cut the foliage off as soon as it gets, you know, when the flowers are gone, and some people even braid them, and I'm like, oh no, you need to leave the foliage there. So what are your thoughts on daffodil care?
Well, they need to be planted. They need to receive at least a half a day of full sun. And you should leave the foliage until it matures, because this foliage is photosynthesizing and storing energy for the next year's bloom. You'll notice toward the end of June, the foliage will start to yellow.
Yes.
You can remove it at this point because about 90% of the energy has been returned to the bulb.
Okay.
But even better if you can let it turn brown and wither. You just have to accept the fact that for a week or so it's going to look a bit unsightly. but this is true of most perennials. They have a stage like that.
Sure.
One way I have found to do it is I usually intersperse my daffodils with things like daylilies.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have them right here.
Frequently, when the daffodil foliage is dying down, the daylily foliage is growing, and eventually it will sort of cover and fill in. And another way to do it is if you plant them in a ground cover, like the Vinca minor, you don't have to worry about cutting them in the grass. If you do plant them in a grassy area, just don't cut the grass until the daffodil foliage has died down.
That's true.
So, and they're a great choice for this area. They have few pests, and you can divide them after the foliage has died down, and you can plant them right back in your garden at that time.
I find that to be the best time to do it. I don't mean to interrupt you, but to me that seems the best time because you know what it is, where it is, and where you want to put it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can store them in a cool, dry area and plant them in October is a good time to do it again. But they're really, I think, a great perennial for this area. So.
I do love them. And a lot of people like to plant them under the shade of trees, and I think that they do okay under the shade of a deciduous tree. Deciduous means that the leaves fall off every fall, but they actually do really well, and the leaves of the trees don't usually come out until the late part of spring. And so the foliage has enough chance to go ahead and get all the photosynthesis it needs, all the sunshine it needs to grow really well. The reason why it does that is all through the springtime when this foliage is growing like crazy, it is creating in the bulb new flowers for next year. So if you do anything like cut this or braid them or any way restrict the foliage, your flowers, instead of being absolutely gorgeous next fall, are going to be smaller. And like people who cut them in a lawn, they go, well, my daffodils didn't come back. There's a reason for that. So it's really very simple, very easy to do. Well, Jack, we have had a wonderful time in your garden. Thank you so much for sharing all your beauties with us. We truly appreciate it. And thank all of you for joining us right here on Delmarva Gardens, right here on Pack 14.